see that the alleged mastermind of the World Trade Center attack in 2001, September 11th, is being brought to justice in New York City. And Mr. Eric Holder, the district attorney, I'd like to ask you some questions that you could please ask Khalil Mohammed, because these things are really important to not just myself, but I think the thousands of families who lost loved ones on that day, as well as the thousands of soldiers who have been killed in Iraq and Afghanistan as a result of the actions taking place on September 11, 2001. I try to ask these questions on the comments section of CBS News, but we all know that CBS News is in the pocket of the government and is not a reporting agency any longer, simply a propaganda agency that just promotes whatever the White House press releases they receive. So I would like to ask you directly, Mr. Holder, if you can ask Khalil Sheik Mohammed. Number one, Mr. Mohammed, how did you mastermind assigning Vice President Dick Cheney as the head of NORAD on May of 2001 that year? How did you manage to put the Vice President as in the head of NORAD, since this has never before been done in the history of NORAD and never since been done? That's one I'd like to know. Also, Sheikh Mohammed, if you will, how did you manage to detonate Building 7, World Trade Center? Not the 1 and 2, the North and South Towers that were taken down by the alleged commercial airlines that hit them, but Building 7 is particularly interesting to me. So it went down about 7 hours later of its own accord. So how did you manage that? How did you hook up the controlled demolition? Okay, Sheikh Mohammed, Khalil Gibran. No. Another question I want to ask: who fired the missile on the Pentagon? We know it wasn't a commercial airliner because there was no wreckage found, there were no jet engines, there was no bodies from any commercial plane. So, who fired the missile on the Pentagon? Then the other question I would follow up with is: how did you get the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation of the United States, to go and round up every surveillance camera in the vicinity of the Pentagon after the missile was fired upon it? We know it's a missile because a commercial jet airliner wouldn't have penetrated the 5 layers of concrete and steel anywhere near as efficiently as a missile. And the diameter of the hole was only 16 feet, and we know that jet engines are even wider than that, let alone an entire commercial airliner. Okay, so these are just some questions that come to mind, and I would like some answers on that. So if Eric Holder, DA, if you could ask him, or maybe Hassawi, the other guy that confessed, or however he says his name, because unfortunately they speak Arabic, so I hope we have a reliable interpreter, and not somebody who works for the White House will just say, "Oh no, he said he did it, he admitted to it." That's all. That's my concern. And I'm really glad that you're striving for justice. So, God bless America.